All right, so today's question of the day comes from future Sailor Trim in terms of bettering your PFA, and also I'm going to be talking about your diet. So I'm just going to be giving you 3 tips. So number 1, educate yourself on healthy eating and working out, exercising, all this kind of stuff. So I personally recommend that you do a lot of calisthenic workouts. So doing a lot of push-ups, doing a lot of variations with push-ups, sit-ups, variations with sit-ups, running, all that kind of stuff. So if you hate workouts like me, you have to do it when you're in the military, right? So do a lot of calisthenic workouts. That's the biggest thing that I can personally recommend. It doesn't matter, how much you can bench press, or how much you can squat, or if you can lift 10 million pounds. It doesn't matter. When you are doing push-ups, when you're doing the calisthenic workouts, it's a totally different ball game from lifting. All right. I know a lot of guys that can lift, that can bench press 300 pounds, but they can't really do pull-ups, right? So it's very, very important that you train on calisthenics. All right. Now, what I advise you to do is, let's say you want to be fit, let's say with your size, or maybe you want to be bigger and much more macho or jacked or whatever. Go to a gym, find someone. There will always be someone that's really, really big and that can lift 10 million pounds or whatever, and also can do a lot of push-ups. Go find them, educate yourself and get to know them, learn what they do, learn their diet, learn how they work out, learn how they rest, learn every strategy that they have, right? So that's my recommendation. So if you want to be, let's say, fit with your own size, there will always be someone in the gym that's fit with a size similar to you. Get knowledge from them, right? Learn from them. It's very, very important that you educate yourself before trying this thing out. Because I remember when I first started, I said, I don't need advice from other guys. I can do this by myself. And guess what? I never really got anywhere until I educated myself, until I surrounded myself with people who were much more fit than me, and they were coaching me. They were telling me, all right, do this workout, do this workout, do this exercise, and do it this way, and do it every so often, and eat, oatmeal, eat eggs and all that kind of stuff, chicken, protein. I had dramatic results, like better results than that I had, previously. So that is my recommendation in terms of that. And also try to do any group workouts. If you're new to this whole workout thing, do anything in groups is always much better, in my opinion. Like group Zumba, group running, group lifting, having a buddy to lift with, and all that kind of stuff. So that's my personal recommendation in terms of that. And number 2, operate out of every 90 days. So stick to something for 90 days. So stick to a strategy for 90 days. To give you an example that I did, so last year from October, November, December, I stuck with a 90-day strategy of being in the gym for 30 to 45 minutes with weightlifting, right? Lifting weights, and also having a high calorie diet, so 3,000 to 4,000 calorie diet. And I stuck with that for 90 days, and I looked at the results. Looking back, this is 2016 now. Looking back at the results, I know what I did right and I know what I did wrong. Being able to examine your results is very important, in my opinion. So in this 90-day, I'm doing something completely different. I'm not doing any weightlifting, not because I didn't get the results that I want. I just want to try out different things. This 90 days, I'm going to have a much more lower calorie diet, 2,000 calorie, 2 to 3,000 calorie diet, and also instead of lifting weights, I'm going to do a lot of cardio. I'm going to do a lot of dancing, because when I was in the last 90 days, I didn't really do a lot of dancing. So this 90 days, I'm going to do a lot of breakdancing. So that's the strategy that I have. So I personally recommend that you operate out of every 90 days, right? And a lot of times, it's all about time, right? If a lot of people, they say, there was a statistics that I was reading, and people usually break their New Year's resolution by January 20th. That was the statistics that I was reading. Now, I'm not too sure if that's totally true, but it's believable. because in the beginning of the year, if you go to the gym, there's so many people, it's always packed. But towards March, it's not going to be as packed. And the reason is people break their New Year's resolution of being healthy, being fit, and all that kind of stuff. So it's all about time. People want the results as soon as possible. People want the results in a week. People want the results in 2 weeks. People spent years being obese, years being out of shape, and then they suddenly want to have the results of being really fit in a week, in 2 weeks. It doesn't work that way. Right? It doesn't work that way. It's a long process. I personally recommend look at it as a year-long process or even 2 years. And within those 2 years, operate out of every 90 days. That is my personal recommendation. Now, for boot camp terms, before you go to boot camp, obviously it's not going to be this 2-year term. People you could be leaving for boot camp within 90 days or within 6 months or 9 months. So then I would recommend you to operate out of 30 days. So if you're leaving within a 90-day period, operate out of every 30 days. Now, if you have 6 months, then okay, now do 90 days, right? So lastly, number 3, what works for me? What worked for me? So let me give you advice on what worked for me and see if that is of value to you. So like I said before, what works for me might not necessarily work for you. So you have to try out and find different workout exercises that you like and that works for you. And that is very, very important because, how people when I go to the gym right now, there's people that are jacked lifting, 500 pounds or whatever. I don't like to do those workouts, right? I can't do those kind of workouts. So I tried many different things that I personally like. Right? So what works for me is in the morning, whenever I have time, whenever I wake up, one of the first things that I do is I go to the gym currently, and I run 15 to 30 minutes on an empty stomach. And I heard it boosts your metabolisms or whatever, and I have the results. I get the results, and I know I have the results because I look at the 90-day progress. And last 90 days, when I had the weightlifting 90-day progress, I did a lot of weightlifting only for 30 minutes max. I didn't like to go over 30 minutes because some days I would do it for an hour, and I would try to do that tomorrow, the next day, and it never really happened. So 30 minutes each and every single day was how I operated last 90 days. And also, run your PFA distance. So 1.5 miles in a specific time. Run that distance. So let's say you need to do it in 12 minutes, but then you have it in 50. You actually do it and it's 15 minutes. And as each week, try to reduce that time by a minute. Is my own personal recommendation. It's how I started. Also, one of the things that I personally did when I first started, before when I was in the DEP program, I was actually going for spec ops, and I was taking the PST, physical screening test for SEALs, all that program. In the end, I didn't make it, obviously, but when I first did that, I didn't really like running at all. But then I made sure I pushed myself to run every single day. So like I said in the previous video, in the morning I would wake up on an empty stomach, go to the gym, and I would run for an hour or 2 hours. And I hate working out, exercising, all that kind of stuff. But sometimes you just have to have that willpower to motivate yourself to do these kind of stuff that you don't really want to do, because in the end you have to do it, right? And remember, the more you sweat, the better your results. If you're in the air-conditioned gym area and you don't really sweat a lot, in my personal opinion, you haven't really worked out a lot. All right? And also, make sure you count calories and drink a lot of water. And once you run a good amount of, once you run a lot, you can have fun with running. I can tell you that from my own personal experience. I hate running, and I'll tell you that right now. I hate running, but I ran so much that I had fun with it. Like, you know, I'll try out, all right, let me do 1.5 miles on an incline of 3, and I'll try to make it in the same time that I usually do. All right, now, you know, let me see how fast I can run a mile. You know, my fastest mile time was 6 minutes and 32 seconds, which is like, you know, 12 or 11 on the treadmill. So you can play around a lot. Or even like, you know, I did it with a vest, like 20-pound vest, and then you run for 2 hours, and after that, like, that was intense. That was intense. Like, I got a 20-pound vest for Christmas like 2 years ago, and I ran 2 hours with that on a treadmill. That is very intense. Like, you burn, I would say, right about 2,000 calories just by doing that. I'm not too sure about the numbers, but it's just about 2,000. So play around with it. Play around. Like, make sure you try out many different things. And that is my personal best advice in terms of bettering your PFA. You just have to do it, and you just have to try out many different things that works for you, right? So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section below, and I hope you have a great Navy day.